Well, hello there, listener. My name is Matthew Renfro, host of The Fro Show, and you're listening to another great Four-Eyed Radio product. For more shows, check out foureyedradio.com.
Bond. James Bond. Shaken, not stirred.
Utter one more syllable and I'll have you killed.
I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
For your eyes only, darling.
I never joke about my word, 007.
For England, James?
Come in, Univex. James Bond here.
Am I going to have a problem with you, Bond?
Allow me to introduce myself.
You're that secret agent! That English secret agent from England!
No, you're cleverer than you look.
Still better than looking cleverer than you are.
My God, what's Bond doing?
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
007 reporting for duty.
Hello! The name's Berkeley, Ziggy Berkeley from Cinema on the Rocks. And with me, yes, actually with me in the studio for one of those rare occasions is Eric Dewey, who is actually Kylo Ren.
Dang it, you gave away my secret again.
I'm good at that. And you are listening to For Your Ears Only. Yes, that's right. This is a special supplement to Her Majesty's Secret Podcast, where we're going to provide you with a commentary track to a James Bond film.
Yes, indeed.
And for this inaugural edition of For Your Ears Only, we have chosen Goldfinger.
Yes. Wanted to do something classic, something that we know well and we both enjoy thoroughly. And we didn't want to necessarily go straight back to the beginning and start with Dr. No. But we do want to give Connery some love first and foremost. So here we are, going to give our commentary track for Goldfinger. So the idea here, of course, is that you would also be watching Goldfinger as you listen to this. In the very near future, the next few minutes, we will be giving you a cue as to when we are starting the movie. Now, we are watching the Blu-ray edition of Goldfinger.
And I believe that all Blu-ray pressings that have ever been operate on the same timetable, so you should be good. And as we're talking to you, we have the menu screen going. We're all ready to go with the initiate mission, which is basically the play on the menu highlighted. So when I say go, that's when I'm pressing the button to initiate that mission.
Initiate the mission, yes. So at that point is when you at home listening should also be firing up your DVD or Blu-ray of Goldfinger. So if you don't have it ready, now's the time to pause the show, go get the DVD, get the Blu-ray, pop it in, get it up to the menu screen because we're about to start. So go do it. Go do it now. Because trust me, you're not going to want to listen to this without watching the movie. It's not going to make any sense.
Yeah, especially since because this is a commentary track, there will be no truncating of silence, so there may be silences in between everything.
There may be some moments of dead air if you're not watching the movie. We'll try to keep that to a minimum because we obviously want to offer actual commentary. However, it's not going to be constant 100% us talking over the entire movie, so expect some brief pauses.
Indeed, that doesn't mean we've gone away. That just means we're waiting for an appropriate moment to speak.
Indeed.
But in the meantime, we are just about ready to go. We have our 12-year-old Macallan on the rocks, and we have the movie in. So get ready to enjoy Goldfinger, starring Sean Connery as James Bond 007, Gert Froba as Goldfinger, and you know the only reason I am reading off the cast list is so I can say Honor Blackman as Pussy Galore. Because Pussy Galore.
Pussy Galore.
And
indeed.
So here we are, our inaugural edition of For Your Ears Only, featuring Pussy Galore. So, everybody set? We're on the menu screen? All right, I am pressing the button to hit the initiate mission now. Brought to you by 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment.
Home Entertainment. Blu-ray disc. Ooh.
In the 21st century. And let's not forget that pirating is bad.
Oh, yeah. What I really like about the anti-piracy notice is the fact that the background is a standard Photoshop texture.
Yeah.
Recognizable standard Photoshop texture. I'm like, did they get approval to use that?
I would guess they probably didn't care. Here we have our gun barrel sequence featuring some old guy who doesn't look very much like he could possibly.
He almost falls over as he spins around to shoot. Quite obviously not Sean Connery. Honestly, looks just kind of like one of the older American CIA people that we see in some of the other older films.
Or maybe one of the hoods from Slumber Inc. and Diamonds Are Forever.
Yes, could be.
But here we are behind a papier-mâché wall. Yeah. This is actually the first time when we get a classic James Bond pre-title sequence where it's James Bond on a mission. Yeah. Because, as you may recall, in From Russia with Love, the opening pre-title sequence was not James Bond.
We also have the iconic, what has become iconic, and one of the things that is often ripped off for other things, the wetsuit transition to the tuxedo.
And of course, who can forget that fashionable duck hat?
Oh, yes. When you absolutely positively need to swim somewhere without being noticed, get yourself a duck hat.
And of course, there is never a tanker container farm that doesn't have a hidden drug lab.
Pretty sure that's what they were all built around. Every last one of them. However, we do have a very nice hidden drug lab inside this particular tanker.
Very spacious, kind of empty. I'm not seeing a whole lot in the way of drugs, actually, but I am seeing plenty of explosives that happen to be right there.
Yes.
It's almost like it's a meth lab before everyone was into meth.
Well, to be fair, the process to make cocaine involves heavy amounts of gasoline as well, which isn't what they're saying. This is nitro, so I'm assuming nitroglycerin. That is a hell of a lot of nitroglycerin if that is the case. But
well, you know what it is. It's, in fact, James Bond is wrong. It is not a heroin factory. They're making heart pills. That damn 007 is ruining people's heart medication.
Here we have the iconic white dinner jacket with the red carnation. Again, so many things from this film directly find their way into other spoofs and spin-offs, even more so than some of the other Bond films, I think.
And here we have a titty bar where they do not serve Bud Light.
I love Connery's acting this. I love the fact that, everybody else is running away and he's just, well, that's what happens. Heroin-flavored bananas. Sounds delicious.
Now, that ashtray looks like a dog food dish.
It does. Although I have seen ashtrays like that, though, so I do know they exist.
She got in the bath awful fast.
Well, she was already half naked, so she didn't really have a whole lot to clean up with.
I'm not complaining. The only thing I'm complaining about really is that she's picking up the towel.
Yeah, that's a little disappointing. And, of course, the fact that she's double-crossing him, that's always a turn-off as well.
Especially when, oh gosh, why could she possibly want him to put his gun away? Now, this part is hokey.
It is hokey, but at the same time, it shows that Bond realizes the instance he's like, okay, there's somebody behind me, and this girl knows it, and she's not trying to stop him. So she must have betrayed me. So you know what? I'm going to use her as a human shield.
Yeah. And I'm going to kick this guy in the balls, and I'm not getting the best out of this fight.
Oh, there we go. Little judo action. I'm going to take your shoe.
Look at the expressions on this dude's face, though.
It really looked like Sean Connery was trying to steal his shoe for a moment. Oh.
Yep. Come on. There we go.
Shocking.
Positively shocking. He hasn't said it yet, so don't worry if you think your timing's off.
We're jumping the gun a bit. We may have seen this flick a few times. It's what makes us feel that we're qualified to sit and talk about it. But yeah, she's just upset.
And then, of course, we have the Bond theme that really started all Bond themes in terms of what they're supposed to sound like, how they're supposed to go. Shirley Bassey belting out Goldfinger with gusto.
With an extreme amount of gusto. It's a fantastic song, fun to listen to, even more so in the context of the title sequence, where we get to see the movie projection on the gold women.
Though I gotta say, I'm not really a fan of the title sequence because of how it's filmed. I mean, do I enjoy the cleavage I'm looking at right now? Yes, of course I do.
It's golden.
But nonetheless, I don't like the whole we're watching parts of the movie that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it's kind of a fine line you got to walk with these, I think. You need to either show stuff that either has already happened in the title sequence, has happened in previous films, which we've seen
which
them do
we know
that.
Eric loves.
Well, because the times that now they're batting 50 on this one, because they've done this twice now, and one time it preceded a horrible movie, and the other time it preceded quite a good movie, so for those of you who have not listened to our Spectre episode yet, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to that. That is another title sequence in which we have the brief glimpses of previous films in the title sequence, and ends up being all right.
Yeah, and actually, Shirley Bassey sings Goldfinger with more balls than Sam Smith sings Writing on the Wall with.
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Yes. Much better song all around. I think Writing on the Wall would have been better if Shirley Bassey sang it, actually.
I don't think that's even a question.
I'd take Adele singing Writings on the Wall. I think I could get down on that.
I think it would be better than Sam Smith just because I kind of think my cat would be. But on the other hand, I think Adele actually has a bit too bass baritone of a voice because she does have a low voice.
Yeah, no, she could bring it down an entire octave, bring the whole song down an entire octave and still make it sound good.
I'm voting Annie Lennox, but here we are talking Goldfinger as opposed to Writings on the Wall.
While Shirley Bassey holds out this note for forever because the credits weren't done yet.
And she didn't realize that the timing that she was going to be asked to hold, she almost passed out when she recorded this because she didn't expect to have to hold the note that long, but she kept going because she is Shirley Bassey.
Professional, yes. So here we are in Miami Beach.
At what's supposed to be a giant swanky hotel, which would now just be probably a housing project.
They've got the multiple flags out front, almost like it's supposed to be like a UN building or something, but it's just a hotel.
You know, that pool does not impress me.
It's a standard Olympic-sized pool, but you'd think for a hotel that big, they'd actually have more than one Olympic-sized pool.
Well, and that it wouldn't just look so cheesy. Oh, and here we have the girl in the bikini swimming in front of the window.
Yeah.
Now, this scene... Okay, I like the idea that we go right to the ice skating rink, but then this part of the scene drives me nuts. Because, ooh, look at that hot Sec Linder. Yeah, bullshit. I mean, they actually turn and stare at this basically old man who looks like he smells like bad aftershave.
Although at least he does have the right look on his face when he sees Sean Connery's hairy legs. He had that look of, oh my gosh, what's all that then?
Dink, man talk, with your own flotation devices.
You can tell this movie was a product of its era, as he tells the woman to go away because they need to have man talk and slaps her on the rear. And she doesn't cry out for sexual harassment.
And her name is Dink. Now this towel suit that Bond is putting on, this is like the low point of Bond fashion ever. And not just... I mean, adding on that strange furry monster that's living on Sean Connery's chest in uneven fashion, but I mean, look at this belt.
No, this is fantastic. He's got this terry cloth robe, but it's not even it's not just a standard robe. It's like an actual Is it a one piece? Does it have pants as well?
It's a
I can't remember
one-piece.
if it's one piece or if it's
No, it's a
two
step-in
separate
onesie.
pieces.
Yeah. So he's basically wearing a baby onesie without legs and without sleeves.
Awesome.
And here we have Goldfinger about to cheat at cards. And this dumb shit gives up his seat after he's been losing for days. How could you not know he was cheating?
Well, he's got the what did this guy's earpiece is not exactly, state of the art CIA Secret Service non-visible earpiece. It's quite obvious he's got something in his ear. What does this guy think it is? Just a hearing aid or something?
Yeah, because you just saw him saying, "Excuse me, what did you say?" And then he turns it up to make it look like it's a hearing aid. And Goldfinger looks like he just has to take a dump.
I actually love Gert Verbo's expressions during this scene because he is extremely expressive, and it's fantastic.
And the fun part is that prior to Goldfinger, Gert Frobe was primarily known as a comedic actor. And after this, he was primarily cast as a heavy because of being Goldfinger.
Oops.
When he was actually just known as a funny man.
He's not going to bother to sweet-talk the maid. He's just going to drag her around by her key.
Well, it's not like she weighs more than 50 pounds. But,
wouldn't mind finding out, though. She's extremely cute.
She is. Ooh, what do we have here? Yep, we have a girl in a bikini who's got a little bit of a wedgie. And that's a very nice angle on the cleavage. I bet they did several takes just to get that side boob. I'm just saying.
Bond. James Bond. He's like, hey, where'd my cheating go?
Hey.
The old tap, tap, tap on the electronics. Little percussive maintenance to get it working again.
And it's like he hasn't been paying attention to anything, because the moment he can't hear the cheating, he dumps a bad card. I mean, the instant, he can't fake it at all.
Although I do like it's one of those things that it's very Bond. To have your bad guy who's so desperate to win at all things that even in the little things that shouldn't matter, like a supposedly friendly game, he's got to cheat. And that's how he ends up getting caught in the first place. And we've seen this before in other movies and other books.
Yeah, and though you do notice they've already had to make an adjustment for time, even though we're only 1 decade off from when the Goldfinger book was written, because Canasta is so 1950s. So now we have to make him playing rummy, which is just hilarious to me.
Yeah, I played some Canasta back in the day with my mom.
I was just going to say, that is how I learned to play Canasta, was to play Canasta with my mom. So,
she tore me up too. Oh, man.
I'm about even with her. She also taught me to play rummy, and about even, so. And there's that over-the-top breaking the pencil. Oh, I bet you are beginning to like him.
Oh. Here's Bond smoothness being Bond smoothness.
Which is why I had to wear the terry cloth robe, because without the robe, then that hairy chest would just, everything would get caught up in it. And so it would be like this little net or a piece of Velcro.
You definitely don't want that.
I don't really want this spread that we're seeing at the end of the bed. Now, I'm fine with what's under the sheet.
I'm fine with this spread.
Yeah, this part's fine. But I love this. President said he was entirely satisfied. Well, that makes two of us. Uh-oh. It can't be good when the phone rings.
You never want that phone to ring.
No. Well, it looks like somebody combed out his chest a little bit. Some of that rogue stuff is gone.
I love the girl trying to distract him while he's on the phone doing his business.
Well, at least she doesn't pull his toupee off.
That would be bad. That's killing offense.
And
it has no chill.
No. It'd be like listening to the Beatles without earmuffs. Okay, I'm reading the line ahead. I'm sorry. Now, this is another interesting case where you have the girl painted a different color, and it kind of brings out something interesting in her. Uh-oh.
Judo chop. Oh. I love how he does the sleepy time eyes, like, oh, I'm got knocked out, so I guess I'm going to be tired.
I do love this intro for Oddjob, where you just see his shadow and they play that musical cue, because this is where John Barry really comes into his own for a great score. So I really like how that happens. I love the cue. The decor in this hotel is questionable.
I'm sure it was top of the line for the day. But, yes, it is quite questionable. Oh, just Guido.
And she's all gold. And, of course, there's a pillow to hide the fact that she's still wearing panties.
Yes. Because we're meant to believe that she's naked. Just gold. But, again, a product of the era that the film was made in, we're going to get a whole lot of actual nudity.
And, of course, we all know that this is bad science. But just such an iconic image.
Oh, absolutely. You don't have Goldfinger without the death by gold paint. I mean, theoretically, you could make it more scientifically sound by saying that he killed her and then painted her gold. But that's okay. It's one of those things that we overlook in the Bond universe as far as science is concerned. I mean, volcano fort. So I'm sure we can let a little body painting slide.
I suppose. Just don't let Goldfinger face paint your kids.
Yeah.
And here we are in London. Here's the bad science.
Well, how could you possibly know?
M is taking this very well, all things considered. He doesn't note that, he really didn't have to bang his girlfriend.
Well,
oh wait, yes, he does.
He does kind of point out. It's like, we told you to watch the guy. Bond's like, well, what did you expect me to do?
But he's aware of his shortcomings.
Bond.
That is the dowdiest office.
It really is. I do like the style choices that we have Bond here in. Very reminiscent, like you were saying when we talked about Spectre, how Spectre kind of pulled from some of these style choices here. Look at this knit tie that Bond's wearing right now. It's very similar. It's only different maybe in a slight shade of color to the tie that Bond is wearing in Spectre in the scene in the desert.
And the overall color palette as well that this film uses. Compare that Spectre was using this era's color palette.
Yes. Love the casual, flirtatious relationship between Moneypenny and Bond. that was a little bit broken in Skyfall when the new Moneypenny was introduced and they had a close shave.
Yeah.
I like the new dynamic as well, but
I like the classic version where you didn't have to wonder, well, maybe the pizza boy showed up, except if the pizza boy showed up, you know what would have happened then. Did somebody order sausage? No.
Oh no, I don't have any cash. However, will I pay?
Now here these guys have plenty of cash, being the Bank of England.
You can tell on account of how large their brandy snifters are. The bigger your brandy snifter, the richer you are, evidently. Because holy crap, look at the size of these things.
The Bonbois comment is just vintage classic Bond, though. I do like that this scene is here, though, because the average person is not going to understand why gold smuggling would be such a big deal.
Right.
And in this case, they're giving a definitive case where they could possibly be devaluing the economy, and okay, fine. We've seen what happens when economies take a dump, and we really don't want that to happen.
Yes. Unfortunately, we have seen that, yes. So you sent him to just look at the guy and see if he was looking shady at all, and he bangs the guy's girlfriend. Now you're sending him on an actual mission to spy on him. What's Bond going to do now?
Gosh.
How do you one-up that?
And here we have an infamous bar of Nazi gold. Now, originally...
I did not see that coming. I'm sorry, had to be said.
Originally, when I saw this, I just kind of assumed that someone would have done research to figure out what a proper stamp would look like on that bar of gold. But having looked at the recently published Bond by Design book, they show some sketch work of stamps they thought they could put on it, including just a giant swastika in the middle. So
they wanted to make sure... I think it was less about authenticity and more about conveying to the audience that this is Nazi gold. So you want to do that in the most direct way possible without completely making it over the top. And I think that's why they went with the logo that they did. It was very recognizable, even though, as you said, that would not be what was actually stamped on the gold. But it's definitely better than a giant swastika in the middle of the bar.
But now we're talking about the Aston Martin DB5. The initial appearance of the Aston Martin DB5. Oh, look, it's called a Homer.
The latest thing from Q Branch. It's called a radio.
It's called a Homer. If you activate it, it goes, dope!
If you activate it near a donut stand, it says, donuts. Yes, this is when we get introduced to the DB5, the Bond car to end all Bond cars, as far as I'm concerned. Everything that came after this was a pale imitation, and they knew it too, which is why they went back to this. I think in Skyfall, it's just so brilliant. It's a beautiful car. The refinements are, well, a little ludicrous, not.
I don't think they're too ludicrous, and besides, they inspired one of the greatest box arcades of all time. Because if you look at the initial weapons you get in Spy Hunter, they're the DB5's weapons. I mean, the car is not a DB5, but still.
Because Aston Martin didn't pay for a sponsorship, or they weren't able to get the rights for it.
Now, you notice we don't have any Dymo labeling?
It's because they were done. This one wasn't the prototype. Find a little red button. Now don't push that button.
Now
what do you think happens when you tell Bond not to push a button? What are the chances that that button is going to get pushed within a very short amount of time? The over-under is set at 100%.
I love, by the way, that when he was explaining the ejector seat, the captioning says imitates whooshing. Now here we are beginning the golf scene, where of course we're going to end up with Goldfinger cheating again.
Yes.
But what's interesting as far as a backstory to this particular scene is, despite being one of the most prominently well-known celebrity Scottish nationalists, in fact, Mr. Connery has a tattoo that says Scotland Forever, and he was given one of the first independent Scottish passports, numbered 007, of course. But despite that, up until this movie, according to the lore, he had yet to pick up the Scottish national game of golf. He learned to golf for Goldfinger.
All right.
That looks like AstroTurf.
It's very possible. Oh.
And of course he's going to miss his putt.
Blame it on the gold.
You did not just go Milli Vanilli.
But, you know, to my credit, I wasn't singing it. I was just lip syncing. So even though we know that Goldfinger knows who he is, on account of we know that he sent Oddjob to knock him out while they killed the girl, he's still kind of willing to play along at this point because of the gold.
Well, you know, he's wearing the Magic Man Prees.
But of course, at least Bond's fashion choice is a little bit better than the previous scene.
I think Oddjob's got the best fashion sense on that course right now.
To be fair, Oddjob's wearing the same outfit always, though, so he's just got good fashion sense, especially that hat.
He's the original transporter.
That magical hat.
Yeah, Bond's hat is actually kind of old manish.
It is, but I think it fits with the outfit and the...
It does.
It's better than what Goldfinger's wearing.
I love this caddy. This caddy is fantastic. Even though he sounds like he came from the shores of New England more so than he does from Scotland, but...
The old golf ball in the pant leg trick.
That's actually pretty good cinematography to show him doing that, but damn, that's cheesy. And look, it's right at the edge of the rough. How about that?
Exactly.
Oh, sure, you had fun with his girlfriend. Now you got to have fun with Goldfinger. Where's this going to go, Bond?
He likes to spread it around.
Filling 18 holes with Goldfinger.
Oh, yeah. The one thing I can say about this scene, it's dramatically improved in the film from the same scene in the book. The golf scene in the book was so long and tedious and boring, whereas the golf scene in the movie is Just slightly tedious and boring.
I think the byplay between Bond and the caddy is what saves it and makes it really interesting on film.
Yes. I still feel it could probably have been 2 to 3 minutes shorter than it ended up being, but at the same time, I mean, it is a necessary part.
Typical man.
Oh. At the same time, it is a necessary part of the story in order to push forward Bond and Goldfinger's relationship past this to where, we end up. So, it's needed, but yeah, I think it could have been a little shorter. Oh.
Oh, and now, after they've played their 18 holes, Goldfinger's too good for him.
Oh,
and
I'm afraid you suck, you jackass.
And he's got to know that Bond's full of shit.
Oh, yeah, no, he knows he knows.
On the other hand, he also knows he was cheating. Now, see that beautiful car? That 1948 Rolls Royce. Where have we seen that?
It's a very, very nice car. Obviously painted different colors and no additional hardware, as we find out in this particular movie. That we know of.
Right.
Who knows what he was doing in Spectre? Oh, well, I guess it isn't the exact same car, because he just said that's a Phantom. In Spectre, it's a Silver Wraith. Still very similar.
Well, shit.
Still very, very similar. And I am noticing now that the lines are a little bit more straight on this car. A little more rounded on the other one. And obviously didn't have the open driving.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's the hat. I love that hat.
The hat is awesome.
That is just so Bond iconic, so film iconic. That's just... This moment is one of those that just stands the test of time and makes the 007 series stand out.
Yes. You have the henchman who doesn't speak. It's just the super strong...
Yes, let's crush that golf ball and imagine it's inside your scrotum, Mr. Bond. There we go.
He's all, imagine this is your balls. I want you to sing the theme song for Spectre for me.
Oh, wow. Wow. And let's see if the Homer works. Dope! 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 Dope!
Donuts.
I love that license plate. AU1, which is gold 1.
Yeah. Lots of little things hidden in here. Obviously, Auric, and then the gold thing going on.
He's like a golden Eric.
Oh. I like that.
Maybe we should start calling you Auric Dewey.
I don't know if I'm that golden, but we'll see. What is golden is this delicious whiskey.
Very much so. Now, here we have something very, very special coming up. I mean, of course, we have the classic, let's drive through a filmed version of the Alps showing through our back window. But along with this nice Rolls Royce and the James Bond classic Aston Martin DB5, which has a map written in French.
But of course.
Goldfinger takes a snooze in the back of his car.
Oui, oui.
And here it comes. the very first appearance on film of a Ford Mustang ever.
Wow.
Never before had there been a Ford Mustang on film.
And a typical Mustang driver, she's impatient as all hell.
Yes, but still not quite as douchey as Lexus.
Yeah.
But, no,
You can take your fancy Toyota and just...
No, but the reason that this Mustang came in actually was as a compromise, because as we all know later on in the film, there's going to be a Lincoln that means a very bad end, and the Ford Motor Company, as compensation for having one of their, at that time, flagship cars destroyed, wanted to showcase one of their brand new cars.
Yes.
And so here we have the Ford Mustang.
And here we have the Mustang driver who doubles as the worst shot in the world.
And we have...
Look at the distance between these two vehicles.
And did you notice when Goldfinger was looking at the fruit stand, he wasn't standing on location, he was standing in front of a projection? And damn, these idiot urban planners or alpine planners who have no idea what a guardrail looks like. Oh, we'll just put something sticking out of the ground every 3 feet. No, that's not a guardrail. That is not going to stop anything except intentions.
Now he's mad. He's like, first you cut me off. I let it slide. But then you shot at me. Not so forgiving with that. Instead, I'm going to cut you off. What up now?
And then, of course, this brings to mind my favorite Mel Brooks quote, even though it's actually said by Gregory Hines, in History of the World Part 1. Come on, do it again, do it again, do it again. Seize this, honkus! All right, pull around so I can shred your vehicle. But the thing is, he's not just puncturing her tire. He is then tearing through that steel.
And then the other side of the tire.
And that is not providing any resistance on the DB5 at all. It's just driving straight through it.
But of course.
And it's cutting through that like butter. I mean, haven't you seen the Back to the Future movies where they remind you that cars of the 50s and 60s are made of really, really thick-ass steel?
How could new tires destroy the entire side of my baseboard like that? Who knows?
Well, he's supposed to be pretending that she's an ignorant woman, of course, because it is the 60s.
She's like, I barely know how to drive this thing, let alone know what a car tire can do. I do need to make sure to get my gun out, though.
Now, when he's reaching down for the suitcase, it almost looked like he was going to slap her ass.
I'm sure he thought about it. He's all, that ain't no backgammon set, and I know it.
That case is way too thin for ice skates.
Yep.
I mean, I don't care how petite she is, her feet are not that narrow.
It's just a beautiful car, though. Even without the gadgets, even just a standalone by itself as a car, it's just a beautiful vehicle.
Now this map is in German.
Well, of course, because he crossed over the line from Switzerland to Switzerland. And therefore the map has to change. I don't know. I have no idea why the map changed languages. I can't even come up with a valid excuse to make it happen. He said, peace out.
And she's just looking at him like, you bastard.
Did he kill Kenny?
Maybe. And here we have Eric Enterprises. They do make sure to show off those alpine vistas whenever they get a chance.
They're definitely not shy about that. And that's okay, because it's beautiful scenery, and you might as well take advantage of your locations.
Interesting architecture on those buildings.
Very industrial, but yet got some coolness factor to it. They're plain, yet just enough style to make them interesting.
Now, what I find interesting here is the subtitle says men speaking Cantonese, but we're supposed to have believed that all of Goldfinger's direct servants were Korean. Now, yes, he deals with Chinese, but his own staff was supposed to be Korean. And they would therefore not be speaking Cantonese, because Cantonese is a dialect of Chinese.
Unless, of course, they were speaking in code to prevent their other Korean friends from knowing what they were talking about. No? Okay.
Or it could just be the standard white people think all Asians are the same.
I heard I heard Ching or something in there, so I'm pretty sure that was Cantonese. I'm going to go with that. Here we see the beautiful Rolls Royce being taken apart, where suddenly we can see all the gold parts that weren't obviously gold previously. Because let's be honest, a car made out of that much gold would be probably far too heavy for the engine to run properly. It'd be like that episode of Mythbusters where they tried to make a stealth car that would not be detectable by radar and laser speed detectors. The problem is that stealth paint that they use on stealth fighters and such is extremely dense and heavy, which is why it absorbs the radar and laser. And it got to the point where they got a car that wasn't able to be picked up by speed detectors. Of course, it couldn't go more than 20 miles an hour, but it wasn't detectable.
There might be some purpose to that. And here we go, where once again, in typical Bond fashion, we're going to blame the woman for doing something stupid.
In this case, she is being kind of dumb, but...
But she is, oh, such the fashionable assassin.
At least she knew enough to dress in black, and
that
wasn't her fault.
It is Bond's fault.
She's not winning any awards for acting for this particular movie, and definitely not this scene.
Not even close.
I love how she only struggles while she speaks, and then she stops for him to speak, and then starts struggling again when she needs to speak again.
Well, you know, she knows her place, apparently.
Oh, man's talking. Gotta shut up.
Man talk. And I'll just stand here waiting for you to slam my head in the door. How about that? Okay. He says in Cantonese Korean.
It's the Cantonese dialect of Korean. It's from the north-southern region.
And you notice, Goldfinger is so gold that all of his cars have yellow lights.
Well, when you're watching a car chase in the dark, you want to know which ones are the good guys and which ones are the bad guys, right?
And here we have the smoke screen, which makes the girl giggle.
Yeah. I understand the actual filming of this nearly killed the guy who was releasing the smoke, which was actually in the form of, I believe, fire extinguishers from the trunk. without proper ventilation.
Which then begs the question of why they added the sparking effect.
Love the gun, shaking it like this, and the shooting sounds are kind of intermixed. It looks like he managed to shoot well halfway in recoil.
And where the hell did that cliff come from?
Where did the cliff come from? Where did all the explosives in that car come from? Why are you driving around in a car made out of C4?
And that oil looked like Kool-Aid, I'm just saying. Now she looks very tired.
It is a fun way to show off all the things that the car can do, which it is fun to see, even though the chase itself is definitely not very technically good, but
it's fun
still so
anyway.
Fun.
It's still a great chase.
It really
just
is
because of the fun.
You have the probably most practical device the DB5 has, the actual bulletproof screen that just comes up to protect the back window.
Uh-oh, time for OJ to show up.
And here's where we lose yet another Masterson sister. Thunk. Well, that's too bad.
But what's interesting is that we know it's supposed to be razor sharp. It doesn't cut her, it just breaks her neck.
Yeah, just maybe one side has the razor blade and the other side is a flat side, because he's got to have a place to hold it, right, without cutting his hand. So perhaps she just got thunked with the handle of the bowler hat.
But look at that. No bruise, no cut, no nothing.
Just dead.
I love Harold Sakata's smile.
Yeah. That's what I found so fascinating about you can tell that the Hanks character in Spectre was directly, I would say the majority of the inspiration came from Oddjob.
I think that's fair. And both men started as wrestlers as well. Harold Sakata was a wrestler.
Yeah. You have the strong silent type with some sort of deadly extra weapon in addition to their just phenomenal strength, which is supposed to be natural strength just on the basis of being a badass. In this case you have the bowler hat. In Hanks's case you have the knife thumbnails.
I love the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper's hilarious. Nice old lady. Hunkers over. Pushes it down with no effort, though, even though she's kind of hunkering. I love the curtsy. And Bond's just like, Biddy. Vroom. Didn't he just turn in two different directions?
I believe he did. And then he just ejected that guy. Who flopped around an awful lot like a doll.
And it's amazing how no one else gets hit. Granny with the gun! Yeah!
He's like, holy...
People change positions a lot. I mean, they're like Jedi or something.
Yep. And we got a beetle.
And that's an interesting take on the Oryx symbol on those canisters, where it's done, almost like the Ever Ready writing or something. Wow, that got a lot faster all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
This is a more exciting version of the chase.
It is, but it does have also the worst ending to a Bond chase, I think, ever. The fact that he is literally fooled by a mirror at the end of the
And the mirror doesn't
alley.
break when he shoots at it. I don't get that.
He thinks somebody's coming. He loses a game of chicken with himself.
A game of what?
Chicken.
But you love chickens.
I do love chicken, but Bond shouldn't succumb to a game of chicken against himself. And it's like, did they put that mirror there in the alleyway specifically for that purpose, or just happened to be a mirror? And he's like, what? He's like looking at him like, how did this happen? Oh, what a fool.
And here we go. The classic Bond scene to end all classic Bond scenes.
Oh, yes. He knows what your name is. He just said. I do like this dinner jacket, though. I think it's a take on having a gold dinner jacket without being just tacky about it.
Without looking like a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
Exactly.
And this is the first appearance of a realistic laser in any motion picture. There had been ray guns and death rays before, but in terms of a realistic, practical laser, this is the first time one ever appeared in a motion picture. And I think it is a very much bigger improvement over the book's buzzsaw.
Yes, definitely. Although the flashing neon coils are completely unnecessary.
I don't care. And Gert Froba is just so amused, you're going to lose your balls. And that laser switches position several times.
It's also obviously not gold, the way it's scorching under the laser beam.
Almost looks like plywood. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
From what I understand, for filming, this was actually being cut from underneath with a blowtorch. Hence the flame you can actually see coming up from the surface. And from what I understand, they did get uncomfortably close to Mr. Connery a couple of times.
Yes, but will you expect him to die?
Hail Mary, here it goes right now. That is a very concerned-looking Korean right there.
No, he's Chinese.
Oh, that's the Chinese guy. Sorry, see, now I'm doing it.
If they're wearing blue with a yellow sash.
Those are the Koreans.
Right.
Okay. I love how he's not saying anything at all. He's just looking at him like, dude, seriously, find out what he knows. Oh, damn it.
I love Gert Froba's facial expressions. Now, there are a couple of different stories about Gert Froba with this movie where he's initially cast and he gets off the plane and he says hello and they find out that's the only English he can speak. There are other versions where it's just they thought his accent was too thick, so they had to overdub him for that. Because when we see him later on in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, that is his normal voice. So either he learned English fast or just improved really well.
Oh, yes.
Ah, yes. Here we go.
But of course it is.
In case you missed that, her name was Pussy Galore. Pussy Galore and the Incredible Hairspray.
It must be a lot of it.
A lot of hairspray or a lot
Yes.
of Pussy Galore?
Well, it's Pussy Galore, so that automatically implies that there's a lot of it. I meant the hairspray specifically.
Oh, look at that product placement. It's a Lockheed Jetstar.
Lockheed. James Bond in Goldfinger, brought to you by Lockheed.
Did she put oil funnels in her underwear there? Just damn.
Madonna hadn't become popular yet, right? That's not a thing.
And here we go with Bond asking, "Are you stripping Goldfinger?" He keeps asking that. He asked the first girl. Now he's asking Pussy Galore. He's awfully concerned.
He's very concerned with who or what Goldfinger is humping.
I mean, is it because he's a fat guy, or what is it?
He's like, you can't seriously, like you're not doing this guy, right? A not so subtle way of saying that she doesn't play for his team, so to speak.
Now, speaking of playing for different teams, Honor Blackman was stolen from the cast of the TV show The Avengers to work this movie. They really, really, really wanted her in this movie to the point where Cubby Broccoli instructed that a judo scene that she had to participate in be written because he knew that Honor Blackman could do judo, and he wanted to make it tailor-made for her. So this is why Mrs. Kathy Gale left the cast of The Avengers relatively soon on, to be replaced, of course, by Mrs. Emma Peel, who will be played by the lovely Diana Rigg.
Yes.
This is also why in a episode of The Avengers that came out after Goldfinger was released, John Steed and Emma Peel get a postcard from Kathy Gale from Fort Knox, Kentucky. So, how's that for a meta-in joke?
Oh, yeah.
I like how she looks all offended.
Yeah, she's like, wait, what? But what I love is that this bathroom has multiple peepholes built into it. Like, one peephole isn't enough. They're like, you know what? They might cover up this peephole. I think it's time to find another one. And he just happens to discover it right away.
People who love peepholes are the luckiest peepholes. Again, it looks like she got poked in the eye.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? Here we have the second tracking device. This one very similar to the one that we see in Skyfall. The latest thing from Q Branch, the radio.
How can he walk in those shoes? They have no traction whatsoever.
He gives the girl a wink while he's shaving. Looks like he's shaving with a can of Easy Cheese, though. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I know. And that... It looked like he should have cut his hand. I mean, I know that's a safety razor, but...
But dang, does he not clean up nice. It's a hallmark of James Bond right there.
And I gotta love that neckline.
Well, I'm not complaining.
That crushed velour, though. I mean, she makes it work. But I think basically...
It's horrible. I think she should take it off.
Okay. Well, there. She kind of brushed some of it aside for you.
I'll accept it. Oh, he does. As we know from Moneypenny and Skyfall, he does indeed enjoy close shaves.
Now, how do you get that view of the White House from a window anywhere?
I think the CIA actually operates out of the gate booth in front of the White House.
Because
must be.
I have been to the place where you have to be to get to that view of the White House. It's a street. Auric Enterprises, Inc. And it's Pussy Galore's Flying Circus.
Oh, yeah.
In case you're wondering, that means it is a flying circus that's run by Pussy Galore.
Sounds legit. Wait, her name is Miley, and they didn't make a joke about it?
They pronounced it Miley out loud, but it sure looks like Miley to me. Which is way better than Miley, which would have been a really, really horrible reference to make 10 years later. Ooh, her gun's bigger than yours.
And now we see that the crushed velour is top to bottom, full suit crushed velour.
Velour.
Again, it's awful. She should take it off.
Crushed velour.
Some great stunt flying here. Definitely dig that.
Talented chaps. Now, are those assless chaps? Or?
I hope not, because when they come off the plane, they all look like they have pretty decent ones to me. On account of they're not chaps at all.
Now, that is one ugly-ass station wagon.
Indeed, it is.
Pussy Galore is such a fantastic character for most of the movie. Because she just completely stands up to Bond, doesn't take his shit. It'll be a shame when that stops working.
Yes. Unfortunately, it does come to a point where, as all women must, they succumb to Bond's charm.
And these planes are brought to you by Piper. And yet again, we have the Madonna Underwire crowd.
Maybe it helps you fly better if they're pointing at the horizon.
And we also have more and more hairspray.
Except for the one in the ponytail, which is actually probably the cutest one. Less hairspray and cuter all over. I dig it.
It's Eric Stud.
You damn right.
Harness racing. The What's with the Banjo. And the wagon, by the way, is a country squire. Get yours at your local automobile dealership. Complete with the baby's ass brown wood paneling.
I hear banjos. Paddle faster. Ho ho ho. Still taking pot shots at Goldfinger. I love it.
Yeah, well, he does have that really awful yellow hat.
He really does. He went from the classy gold dinner jacket to just the I'm giving up and wearing bright gold checks on both the vest and hat. And it's just not good.
Not rice checks, not wheat checks.
No.
Lock clanging.
The lock did indeed clang. At least you get some air and some sunlight.
And a neighbor. If I remember right. Nope, I'm thinking something else. Oh, look, it's a Thunderbird. And where are they? Kentucky Fried Chicken. They love chickens.
One of my favorite scenes from any film ever coming up here shortly.
Good guy Goldfinger. Ultimate man cave.
Oh yeah, you got a pool table.
And look at that. I mean, he's got
horses from carousels.
Well, it is a stud farm, to be fair. Look at this.
You got the bucking bronco.
Idiot riding it backwards. And it's a hand crank. That just does not look good. I do not do business with Chicago. This is, of course, based on an actual Hoods convention, which kind of broke up the myth that the mob doesn't exist. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Mine does.
This is so cool.
I love this. I wish the goons in the room would shut their dang traps while this was happening. Hey, what's with that trick pull? Hey, what's this map doing here? Just shut up and enjoy the ride, dude.
I guess that's our cue. Pull my Goldfinger.
Hey, what's that map doing here? What's that map doing there? What does a map ever do? It maps stuff.
That's a myth, by the way.
Yep.
And this is, of course, the iconic first time where you have the bad guy completely explaining his plan to everyone just so the audience can find out what it is.
But at least in this case, he is explaining it to people whom he's trying to bring on as business partners. Well, not really trying to bring them on, but he's taking money from them to get where he is, as opposed to explaining it to Bond right before he's supposedly going to kill him.
Though, of course, he plans on killing all of these people anyway, so he's only doing it for his own benefit.
Yeah. Well, it's because he's got this whole thing about being the world's greatest criminal.
And this line is so great. I love that. It looks like he's going to flip them all off. Except crime!
Except crime!
Meanwhile, Bond's flirting with
Bond's
the guard.
making eyes at the Korean guard. This is the best part. I love that he actually pulls this off with the guard. This is awesome. Walking back and forth. Gonna wave. Maybe give you a wink. Huh? Yep, there it is. And then...
Could this be called going down on the guard?
And then he does the hidden elevator gag. And the guard's like, wait, what?
Well, it's like an ultimate dad joke. You have Detective Baby. We got you dead to rights. The criminal hides his face with his hands. He's gone!
Wait, I didn't see him take the elevator upstairs. Somehow he manages to disarm him without that gun going off once.
The surplus German gun, of course.
Of course. Which we know from the Indiana Jones films will go through 5 people straight through.
Duh.
It's a cool looking gun though. I've always liked the Lugers. It's basically the gun equivalent of Han Solo's blaster.
The underworld will rock with applause for centuries.
Said, shut your trap, dang it. Oh, yeah? There's a fool right there who would say different. Oh.
Operation Grand Slam, where we go to Denny's for breakfast.
Oh, we should go to IHOP and hit up a Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity instead. Remember the days when you used to get a discount for actually saying the whole name?
His personal pilot is, of course, Pussy Galore.
Pussy Galore. We have Bond casually writing a note to slip to the CIA, assuming they ever realize that he turned his tracker on for a dang good reason.
Now, when you look at that map of Fort Knox, it is about as accurate as they could possibly have gotten. In fact, the actual personnel at Fort Knox applauded them on the representations of the outside. And when you look at that, the 3D representation, there is exactly one piece of gold that is perfectly visible in plain sight at Fort Knox. It's the Great Seal above the door. Yeah. It is actually made of gold. In completely plain sight. Good luck. Yes, Mr. Solo is on his own.
Anyone else want to drop out? Oh, no, different movie, sorry. We have no blimps here.
Time for him to go on the Kessel Run.
Unta bunta solo. Yoink.
We've switched the crushed velour for corduroy.
It's horrible. She should take it off. Oh, you mean this geeky? The corduroy does look better, actually, than the crushed velvet, but still good with it. Coming up, we have one of the actual best excuses for a Bond villain to treat Bond actually hospitably than they've had in previous films and in future films as well.
But first, we have the ultimate expression of good guy Goldfinger.
Yes, good guy Goldfinger gathers the world's worst criminals together in one place, kills them all.
And realistically, with this bad acting, maybe it's better they left the screen. Oh, boom.
It's a nice Lincoln Continental you got there. Be a shame if something happened to it.
Well, that is how we got the Mustang in the movie after all.
He has a pressing engagement. Whoa, whoa. Easy with the boys over there. Bye, dude.
Of course you did.
So did I.
And where are they again?
Kentucky.
Fried chicken. Come on, Felix, stop eating that chicken. You gotta get in here. You chicken-obsessed fool.
It's Colonel Santa's recipe, though. It's 11 herbs and spices. They're secret. We're not supposed to know that it's basically just garlic and onion and salt and pepper and sugar and flour. And, we're not supposed to know that, though. It's secret.
And, of course, we're passing a Ford dealer in case you want to buy any of these fine Ford products, be it the Thunderbird, the Lincoln Continental, or the previously seen Mustang.
Or the Fairlane we just saw right there. So, I didn't miss the dang turn. You missed the turn, Solo.
And I bet somewhere in that lot you could also find a Country Squire. We couldn't afford a squib, but that's okay. Or a front license plate.
Just the smug look of satisfaction on Oddjob's face. It's fantastic.
Well, that's because he's busy inventing rap, as we will discover in James Bond Jr.
Dang you, scum!
Doesn't call ahead, just parks the car, and we just assume they're going to take care of it right away.
Yeah. Well, there's the fact that they didn't bother to take the gold out first, even though it's packed in a case. No, instead they crushed the car and then have the cube transported back so they can extract the gold from the crushed cube, which seems like it would be a lot more difficult than maybe just taking the case of gold out of the trunk before you crush the car. Not to mention, you're going to end up with bloody gold now.
Maybe that's how he likes it.
Bloody Goldfinger.
This crushing equipment brought to you by Harris. Nope, no aluminum here. This is an all-steel body. And, of course, what are we putting it into? A Ford pickup.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine who sponsored the automotive product placement in this movie.
Mazda?
Obviously.
Toyota? No? All right. I got nothing. I got no guesses. right.
That's interesting. Military used cars. So you can buy a tank?
But a used tank, I mean... But you know what they say, the tanks lose 50% of their value the moment you drive them off the lot, so might as well buy used.
There was a James Garner movie to that effect, actually, made in the early 80s called Tank, where he personally owned a tank.
Nice.
And ran amok with it after his kid gets arrested.
I do like tank chases through the streets of Stalingrad.
Except you're thinking St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg, yeah.
The former Leningrad.
There you go.
Stalingrad is completely the other side of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, okay. It's over there somewhere, though.
Apologies to our Russian audience.
Here's what I was talking about. Many times we see the Bond villain treating Bond very generously and in a very hosty type way, with the hospitality type of thing, and it's usually just a show of power, like I'm going to be nice to you even though I'm going to kill you. Whereas in this case, Goldfinger actually has an excuse. He knows he's being watched by the CIA, so in case they're here to see if Bond's in trouble, he's going to put on a show for the CIA. I think that was very smart of them to give that reasoning, at least. Doesn't work out for him, but...
No, but it still is more than we usually get. Mint julep. Yep, we're in Kentucky. And, I find it interesting that it's a movie about Fort Knox. We're on a horse stud farm, which makes total sense because this is Kentucky. And yet, I bet if you put a lot of people on the spot and ask if there's ever been a James Bond movie in Kentucky, they'll say, why would there ever be a James Bond movie in Kentucky?
But indeed, there already has been, and it was a good one.
Now, this is one of my favorite parts.
Yes.
60 men would take 12 days to load it onto 200 trucks. Basically, what we have is James Bond explaining why Ian Fleming's plot for the novel of Goldfinger is stupid.
Yep.
And this is just brilliant because we take a plot which in Ian Fleming's novel was ridiculous on its face. And there's no polite way to say it. It was stupid. And we turn it into something brilliant because this plot would work.
Yeah. Yeah, you get that. And the fact that he points out that, okay, you're going to steal all this gold. You can't steal all this gold. You need too many trucks, too many men, too much time. And that's exactly what the plot of the book was intended to be, that he was going to steal all the gold. So we know that's ridiculous. We knew it was ridiculous when we read the book. In the movie, they tell us that it's ridiculous and give us a better plot. Very good.
This is definitely one of the most crystal examples of where we get a far superior movie to a book.
Yeah.
And I know it's something that in pure Hollywood terms is supposed to never happen. The book is always better than the movie. Except in the case of most of the Ian Fleming novels. Not all of them, in my estimation. Eric and I have had some disagreements about this, which will come up in future discussions, and have come up in our past discussions. But I think in this case we both agree that Goldfinger, the movie, is far superior.
Definitely. I mean, just in terms of the plot, you don't get... You can describe cleavage in a book all day long, and you will never have the visual of Pussy Galore in that purple shirt.
You really won't, and I think those pants are velour, and I don't care.
They're horrible, and she should take them off. But yes, I definitely agree. The book for Goldfinger, unfortunately, does have far too many holes, and the scenes where he does decide to drag it out into more detail, it does so at a very painful cost, specifically the golf scene. In the book, it's so hard to get past that, and it just keeps going, and you think maybe it'll be over next page. Nope, still going. So yes, definitely when comparing Goldfinger book to novel, or novel to movie, I should say. Yeah, let's compare the book and the novel to each other. The movie to the book, the movie is definitely the better of the two.
Now, with that being said, we're getting to the one scene here where I do find it a little bit objectionable. This was the one I had to pick when we had to choose something for our Holiday Returns episode, where I said that this would be the thing that I would change, even more so than the bad science of the paint, because, okay, we're used to bad science. Now, this part's okay. Let's have fun doing judo moves in the hay. I'm good with that. And the thing is, Eric and I can admire Honor Blackman's form, and we can make jokes about the name Pussy Galore all day. Pussy Galore,
we
Pussy
really
Galore.
Could, all day long.
Yes.
Don't challenge us. We can go 24 hours straight.
But what's coming up right here is effectively a rape scene. It is...
She's literally trying to choke him, and he's like, no, I'm going to kiss you. That's not cool.
And then, of course, we have submission.
Yes.
And this is where her character just, boom.
Yeah, she's like, oh, man. Yeah, you have that moment where they're having fun with each other, and it's fine. And then he pushes himself on her, and she, because he's James Bond, and any woman alive must automatically succumb to James Bond. So...
And unfortunately, there are too many human beings who do this in their real lives, and these people are called scum.
Yes.
So please, gentlemen out there, and even ladies out there, if your partner says no, they mean it.
Yeah.
However, we are talking Goldfinger here, so Pussy Galore.
And her flying circus, none of which I'd have a bad time with.
No, and... Of course, we're not talking Red Squadron, Blue Squadron, or Rogue Squadron. This is Champagne Squadron. It's a tall drink of something.
Pull out, Piper. You're not doing any good back there.
I think the brass is a little bit brash here. I understand why it's there, but I do prefer the subtlety of modern orchestration.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it's brash, it's more subtle than this.
Yeah. Well, of course, in this scene, at this point, we're expected, we're seeing them fly over, and they're going to start releasing the gas, which they believe is sleeping gas, but we know to be deadly nerve gas that's going to kill everybody who's affected by it.
Except we also know that it is, in fact, sleeping gas.
Well, we know because we've seen past this point in the movie, but as imagining a first-time viewer of this film, at this moment in time, we're thinking that this is deadly nerve gas because we don't know that the switch has been made.
And here we have the horrible actors of the U.S. Army.
You know what? It's awful just to fall down just in a row. But I'll take that over the overacting, gagging, and flailing about done by the goon squad in the map room.
See, I prefer the goon squad to the dude who just fell over on...
Well, that guy, the guy on the drum major platform who just like...
And look at these tank guys, come on.
Well, I like how
they actually braced himself before
well, yeah,
he goes down.
He's like, you guys aren't paying me enough to hurt my face when I fall down.
And they're just
that guy like covered his head like, I'm gonna just take a nap. I'm just going to sleep.
And I'm not faulting John Barry's score at all. Like for this era, it's perfectly fine. I'm just saying
the random helmet rolling off after the fact, though. You got a couple just laying around.
Of course. And then, of course, and look at this. This is actually not bad for the 60s. We have an integrated army. Not always guaranteed. That looks kind of like the Cuban Goon Squad from Laser Mission. You know what I wonder if they are?
Mercenary man.
I think it might be a mercenary man.
Oh, gosh. Oh. So the baby is asleep. The trucks are heading in.
That's an interesting car accident.
Well, they fell asleep while they were driving and crashed, and somehow that car just flipped right over on its side.
And that car was labeled TP25, so 25 rolls of toilet paper in the car.
Go. And I do like how they are careful to show, like, you notice you're not seeing obvious breathing in any of these people. Because at this point in the film, we're still supposed to believe that these are all dead.
And then, of course, we're going to have Felix Leiter off to the side, which makes us wonder what Felix is doing at Fort Knox.
Yeah, he's not supposed to operate inside the country. What's that about? Yeah, where... They killed Felix!
There's no red signal. They didn't have to stop.
Right? What about the gate, though?
They just had to collaborate and listen. You should see the sideways look I got from Eric. That was just fantastic.
Well, he's back for a brand new mission, I guess.
Well, you know, right now they got a problem, but they'll solve it. Check out the laser. Well, Barry revolves it.
Let's not.
John Barry.
Oh, no. All right. Love the traditional plunger. There was a whole lot of explosives to blow the gate when all they really needed to do was blow the lock in the center of the gate and then open the gate.
Yes, but that wouldn't be as Bugs Bunny, would it?
You know what they could have done? They could have just painted a hole in the gate and walked right through it.
They could have. And there you have the actual piece of gold at Fort Knox that the public can see.
Yep.
If only they had been allowed to film at Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Which, of course, no, not going to happen.
No, probably not.
But now you know what they're on.
A laser mission.
They are on a laser mission.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
I wonder if one of those Asian men is Brandon Lee. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I think they're all better actors.
I question your judgment, sir. There, I said it. Meanwhile, Somji laser. Pew pew. Take that thing down like a mercenary man.
They would later find out that that door wasn't actually locked. All they had to do was lift it.
And they don't scorch the granite.
I like how they cut the entire door off so they can turn around and open the door next to it. Instead of, I don't know, maybe just cutting a person-sized hole through the door that somebody could walk through and then open the door from the inside.
Meanwhile, just as computers have gone from room-sized computers to personal tablets what would now be a suitcase bomb is a sea chest bomb.
Yes. Which they then bring on a food service trolley. No.
Well, yeah, you should see the champagne and the peel and eat shrimp in there.
And it keeps everything nice and cool inside that cooler. Actually, as movie bombs go, this one's pretty decent looking as far as the design and stuff. You have this external controller that needs to be attached in order to get it in there. You have, of course, them pretty much instantly breaking the vault.
Well, yeah, because that's easy.
That's the easy part.
Try not to do the math on how quickly that timer should have counted down.
Now, those aren't exactly seconds. Felix is okay, yay! Like how they all wake up perfectly clear-headed at the same time.
And none of them has a crick in their back or anything. No one's knees going out of joint.
Even though the truck toppled over, evidently. And here we have the movie's interpretation of the inside of Fort Knox.
Which we all know is totally wrong, but it is still gorgeous. I do love this set.
Great set.
And for all the fun we've been having and making of this movie, it is a great, great movie.
Yes.
Just so much fun. I have watched this so many zillion times I've lost count. And it's amazing the number of people who I know for whom this was their first date movie. And not just people of a generation who saw it in a theater, either in its original release or during one of its many re-releases, because, of course, before the days of VHS, you'd have re-releases into theaters. But even people of more, shall we say, younger contemporary generations who decided this was the first video they wanted to watch to Netflix and chill. I've known people from across the age spectrum, and this is a solid choice for a first date movie. It's like this, The Princess Bride, and Labyrinth.
I could definitely see 2 out of 3 choices there. Never been a Labyrinth fan.
Jennifer Connelly.
Well, yes, but was she like 16 in that movie? I don't want to think about that. But Princess Bride, definitely top all-time favorite movie. And then we've got here the man with the golden gun. Oh, no, wait, no, that's not him.
Indeed, except he has 6 shots.
Yeah. And he needs them because he's not that great with it in comparison.
Which is why he picks up the gigantic machine gun, and we have the bad acting army once again, with no holes in them, no squibs, no nothing.
They ran out of money on this set right here.
And here we have Oddjob and the Mercenary Man.
Oddjob's like... I like how he makes the obvious crash dive that would terminate in the padding.
Of course, in a more modern movie, that would be a Wilhelm scream. For those of you who are not familiar with the term Wilhelm scream, just look it up. You have heard this scream about 6 billion times. It doesn't matter whether it's in movies, TV, video games, commercials. You have heard the Wilhelm scream.
Yep. All right. Bond was able to drag the bomb to a... Uh-oh. Watch out! Here comes the bowler! Nope.
Bowling with the champs.
That was a gutter ball. Right. Well, now he's uncuffed from the bomb at least.
How did that hat move over there? That's not where it landed.
Frickin' magnets. How do they work? I don't know.
Ooh, that's going to be important in a minute.
Shockingly enough. Oh.
Now, bear in mind how much a gold bar weighs. That's a lot. It weighs more than a bowling
Love that
ball.
move, though. He comes flying at him like he's going to get him in the chest. Instead, gets up above and gets him around the neck. If it was somebody who wasn't super strong, evidently, like this guy, it would matter.
Though, honestly, the fact that Harold Cicada can have such an easy time with Sean Connery, even understanding Sean Connery to be actually a pretty well-built man for his time, for the standards of fitness. He was a Mr. Universe contestant. But it is not unreasonable that these two men set against each other. Harold Cicada definitely has the strength advantage.
I was screaming. It just turns. I'm like, I'm okay. Let go now. There you go. There you go.
And now he's just playing with his food. You funny man. Come on. I'm not done with you yet. Oh, Jesus.
Oh. Ouch. That's got a sting. And again, like I said, I definitely believe that their major inspiration for Mr. Hanks came directly from Odd Job, because you see the same type of situation here where you've got the fight where Bond is clearly losing.
Until he picks up the hat.
Until he finds some way.
And then I love how his demeanor changes, though. He is suddenly feeling defensive. Because he could be hurt this way. Uh-oh.
But yet...
Isn't this the second time he's electrocuted a bad guy?
Yep. Oh, poor Odd Job. Something shook loose in his brain that day, and he became a rapper.
Wiki what?
Wiki what?
I'll just take some gold here.
Yeah, why not? Yes. Let me find the softest metal available and see if I can't use that to bang my way out of something.
To be fair, it's right there.
Yeah. And it is heavy. It's just using it as a hammer and chisel is not really going to be your best bet, I suppose. Yeah, guys, go back in towards the bomb. But we do have, besides the obvious 60s acting here, we do have a really great action sequence where we've got Bond fighting with the bomb, trying to get it open in time to take the fuse out before it goes off and not only kills everybody in this general vicinity, but also irradiates America's gold for 58 years.
And we actually have Bond looking at a bomb like, I have no frickin' clue what I'm supposed to do here.
Probably because he's looking at the bomb going, a bomb would not have any of these parts. What is this stupid colored wheel doing? This is not something that would be in a bomb. Cut the green wire. Cut the green wire. Oh, there are no green wires. Dang it.
Now, originally, the timer on this bomb was supposed to stop at 3 seconds. But then somebody had a very clever idea.
.007. I love how he's like, get your hands off of those wires. What the hell are you doing? Click. One switch. And that would explain why the line was 3 more ticks.
Gosh, what made Pussy Galore call Washington?
I treated her like the silly woman she is, and she finally understood her place. That's basically what he's saying, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, I guess it was what was necessary since they'd already killed his other opportunity to get the word out to the CIA. There had to be some way for him to have the day saved, I guess.
Meanwhile, he's boarding another Lockheed Jetstar. Why? So that they can use the same set.
Yeah. I do like that line, though. I told the stewardess, liquor for 3. Oh, who else is coming? No one. The fact that Felix knows what an alcoholic Bond is fun.
You are not the hot stewardess I was expecting.
I'm not going to get my liquor, am I?
That line needs to be retired from every script ever. You've interfered with my plans for the last time.
It's a gold gun. Just grab the barrel and bend it.
No, we have to put the plane in peril.
Yep. The explosive decompression that'll actually suck the fat guy out the window. Some more bad science, by the way. That wouldn't actually happen that way.
And here we have Pussy Galore.
This scene just got better.
Because
Pussy
Galore.
Playing its golden harp. Wait a minute. They think Goldfinger got into heaven?
Well, as the Far Side cartoon said, welcome to heaven. Here's your heart. Welcome to hell. Here's your accordion.
Thump. That didn't look good.
No.
I think anybody on board that plane would probably be in a bad situation.
Which is why it's a really good thing they managed to get out first.
Dum da dum da 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 dum.
Without a scratch, mind you.
Don't worry about waving the jacket. They're going to see your top first. And it's horrible and you should take it off.
That's a very well manicured, very lawn mowed.
Random chunk of woods.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed it is.
That does bring us to the end of the actual film Goldfinger.
Yes.
So as we run through the very short credits, because this is the 1960s, we get to listen to Shirley Bassey once again belt out with gusto one of the single greatest James Bond themes in terms of just how iconic it is.
Yes. It's a fantastic song, fantastic movie all around. I know we take the piss out of it for some things, but that's because we love it so much. If it were just a bad movie, we would just pan it once and be done with it. But because it's such a good movie, we've seen it so many times, we can pick apart the little things that we don't like about it while still enjoying the film as a whole. So I hope you do understand that when we talk about the things that we don't like about the film, that it's out of love.
Yes, and we even make fun of the things we do like, because I love the fact that Felix Leiter is addicted to Kentucky Fried Chicken. But I will laugh my ass off and point that out every time I see him at Kentucky Fried
Chicken.
Because why would we fault anyone who loves chickens?
Indeed.
But
So?
any final thoughts before we close out this edition of For Your Ears Only? Now that the audience should be getting back to the point where either their Blu-ray player is auto-loading the menu screen again or just stopping altogether?
Yeah, no, I just, like I said, just want people to, hopefully you enjoyed this inaugural edition of For Your Ears Only, the companion commentary piece for Goldfinger. It's something that we were trying out for the first time here, so if you enjoyed it, please let us know. If you did not enjoy it for any reason, please let us know, because we would love to improve upon our product. So please drop us a line. Obviously, you can comment on this episode on our website at hermajestiespod.com. You can also tweet us at hermajestiespod or Facebook message us at facebook.com/hermajestiespod. Or you could tweet me directly at Eric J. Dewey, or drop me a line via email, eric@fourayidradio.com.
And you can email me directly at ziggy@cinemaontherocks.com. You can also tweet me at cinemaotr. So we try to make this simple for everybody.
Try to make it as simple as possible. Yes, please let us know whether you liked it or didn't. If there's any suggestions you have for improvement, anything you'd like to have us dive into more deeply when we do one of these, or if you'd like us to shut up more and leave more time for just movie, either way, let us know. We'd like to hear about it. Like I said, we always want to continue to improve our product. So let us know.
Yes, and in the meantime, we invite you all to go out and have a lovely dinner of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I am Ziggy Berkeley.
And I'm Eric Dewey.
And you have been listening to For Your Ears Only, the commentary track version of Her Majesty's Secret Podcast, only on the Four-Eyed Radio Network.